and say the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. The records show we're all present. Trying to change things around. We're going to do the public comments early. Has anybody in here got public comment? I'm moving it up on the agenda.
You want the consent agenda first?
That would probably work, but I had it, we put the public comment right after pledge allegiance.
We did?
There it is.
Not what I'm seeing.
No.
No.
Consent first.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm reading the second one. Consent agenda. Everybody look that over?
I'll make the motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. I'm gonna read the public comment policy statement. If there's anybody from the public that wants to make a comment to the board, they will need to go over to the table along the wall here and read the script, fill out the form, and make a public comment. At the end, we will reserve at the beginning, we'll reserve about 30 minutes for public comments, but you only get 3 minutes to speak on your topic. The board will not respond. Anybody want to speak? Okay. We tried. We're going to do it for a few weeks, see how that works out for people speaking up front. Okay, any new hires? None? Next up, Mark Lander, Transit Director of SWIPCO, discussion and or decision to approve and authorize chairman to sign Rural Transit System Joint Participation Agreement with SWIPCO. Need a motion?
I'll make the motion to approve.
Need a second?
I'll second.
And Mark has driven over from Atlantic. I think he's got something he'd like to say.
Yep.
I'm just here to answer any questions anyone may have. So you guys, I know you already approved in February the amount, and we appreciate that. You know, you guys get a lot of bang for your buck out of public transit in this county. You know, operational costs are right around $1 million. We'll provide right around 105,000 rides, so $6,000 is a pretty good investment. We really appreciate it. We were last Thursday named Regional Transit Agency of the Year for the 4th time in the state, so proud of that. You know, that there's several metrics that go into play there. One of them is rides per capita, which we're #1 in, as well as cost per ride, which we're also #1 in. So we're the only agency in the state that provides transportation for less than $10 per ride cost. So
How many riders did you have last year?
530,000,
And this year?
right around the same.
Okay.
So we've seen a lot of growth over the last, since COVID years. We were actually the only agency in the entire state, rural or urban, that gained ridership during COVID. And, you know, we would be right around 570,000 rides, but with the closing of the state school down in Glenwood, that costs about 30,000 rides a year. So all in all, if you take those numbers out, we've steadily seen a 1 to 3% ride increase year over year, and we expect that to continue.
And the OSI, are there any other corporations that you're providing shuttle services for? I know you do at OSI in Oakland.
Yeah, we provide work route services for OSI in Oakland, from the metro out to Oakland, and then Atlantic to Oakland. We also do transportation for Monogram Foods in Harlan, from Council Bluffs into Harlan, as well as Atlantic to Harlan. We just started a new route with Heartland Harness in Neola, taking folks from Council Bluffs out to Neola. And that's been going pretty well. It's only one shift, but we've been, filling up a bus, which is nice. And then we also do carry on trailer up in Missouri Valley, provide transportation for them. Their one shift as well. So, there's a lot of demand for work route rides in the area. So, we're always working on different things like that. So,
Does Council Bluffs contribute anything to SWPCO?
no, they're in a different category. So they're 5307, we're 5311. Actually, they're 5307 and 5310. We're 5311. So we do stuff in Council Bluffs, but it falls under a zero pot of money, which we don't put any federal funds towards because it's an entitlement area.
But you provide transportation to,
Yeah, we provide transportation in the city of Council Bluffs.
You do a lot to the hospitals too, correct?
Yeah, we just started a pilot back in February for Jenny Ed and Mercy, taking folks in the city to the hospitals as well as the option for county folks to come into the hospital. We expect that to really start picking up here after July 1st because we got state funds to run this project, and that's available July 1. That's 50 grand for that service. So we're excited to really see that take off, and it's needed. I mean, it's one of the main reasons we started exploring this hospital type transportation was for folks out in the rural areas to help keep them in their homes. So we think it's going to be a pretty popular service.
Good. Now, how many counties is that?
Right now, it's just Potawatomi County.
That's it for the hospitals?
Yeah, so Pot County, we do see it expanding at some point into Mills County, rural Mills County. But that's probably going to be right around first of next year. That all will just depend on, how we're able to meet the demand we have now for services.
Are your vehicles handicap accessible?
Yes.
There,
Yep.
to have wheelchair lifts. and all that.
All have little ramps. We have some that aren't, but we don't put those in service where wheelchair service is needed.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? Thanks for what you do.
No problem.
Really appreciate it. That's good for our county.
Well, we appreciate your guys' help too. Supervisor Miller has been pretty instrumental in helping us with the hospital project, so we appreciate that. And, whenever we can show the state that we have coordination with the county and cities, that goes a long way for different grants. So we do appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming over, Mark.
Okay, I got a motion by Miller, a second by Jorgensen. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carried. Thanks for coming in, Mark.
Yep. Thank you.
Really appreciate it. Jason Slack, Director, and Ben Shudak, Building and Ground, Andrew Smith, Jail Maintenance, and Rick Mitchell, Optimized Systems.
Pretty
Did I get
good.
close?
Can we check? Yes, very good.
Okay. Discussion and decision on jail and sheriff's office facility condition assessment update and consideration of authorization to finalize design and construction documents for public bidding. You want to take this away, Jason?
Sure. Over the past several months, our teams worked with Optimized Systems to conduct a comprehensive assessment of the jail facilities and the sheriff's office there. The purpose of the assessment was to evaluate the condition of building systems, identify operational and maintenance concerns, assess risks associated with aging infrastructure, and develop recommendations to improve reliability, efficiency, and long-term facility performance. Today, we'll provide an update on the findings of that assessment, discuss the current condition of the facility and its major systems, review and recommend the scope of work, and then present our request for authorizations to proceed with the final design and construction documents necessary to move the project forward to public bidding.
I just threw together kind of a quick little presentation that kind of highlights the overall. I mean, the background behind this is about a 70-page report, kind of talking about the facility. So you can hit the next slide. So basically at a glance, the facility construction began in 97, it opened in 99. So it's about 27 years old, just under 120,000 square feet. In 2022, there was a small expansion as part of this facility. Everybody knows the population served, and one of the more important things is this is a 24/7 facility. So when we talk about age of equipment, this stuff doesn't run occupied, unoccupied. This stuff runs 24/7, 365. Some recent infrastructure projects, there was some boilers that were installed within the last 5 years. There was a new chiller installed a few years ago. We're going to talk about redundancy and capacity. And the rest of this equipment is pretty much 27 years. So from an ongoing maintenance perspective, your staff's done a great job. I mean, the stuff's in overall, for the age is in good shape, but it is what it is. It's just kind of getting old. So that next slide, please. So kind of what we did is we assessed everything, and then worked with Jason and his team. We basically put together cost estimates of what it would take to replace these, and then kind of broke it up into 3 phases, partly for a dollars and timing perspective, and partly because of the unique occupancy of this facility. You can't just go in and renovate everything. You got to kind of stage stuff because people aren't moving out as part of it. So we kind of did a 3-phase plan, with the first phase being life safety, reliability, some of the more important stuff that if it fails tomorrow, it's kind of a big deal. Phase 2, improvements, redundancy, just making things more efficient on the plant side. And then phase 3 is operational improvements. For example, the rec area right now has heating, has no cooling, so we'd kind of upgrade some of those areas. From a controls perspective, exhaust fan replacement. So phase 1, most critical, phase 2, and then that's kind of how we laid it out. And one of the key goals of this, so life safety is a big part of this. You'll see some of the smoke evac stuff, reliability. For example, you put a new chiller in 2022, but understand that's a single point of failure. If that were to fail, you'd have no redundancy whatsoever. Efficiency, 27 years ago, stuff just not as efficient as it is now. And then just operations in general. And kind of the 2 overriding things I would say, and it's no problem with the facility, it's just the fact that it's 27 years old. Codes have changed from a ventilation perspective. So the amount of required ventilation for a facility like this is a lot higher now than it was in 1997 when it was designed. And then just a life safety perspective. Facilities like this have fairly critical life safety situations. Once again, if there's a fire, you can't just evacuate the building. So it's very smoke evac, compartmentalized, fairly complicated systems that have to operate in this scenario. And I'll kind of break down real quick by phase, but overall, you're looking at just under $8 million kind of work laid out throughout this. Next slide, please. And then kind of like I said before, why this matters, it's definitely a life safety issue. The risk of failure, like I said, a lot of these are single point of failure. So yes, if you have no air conditioning, is that the end of the world? Not the end of the world, but it's a pretty large deal. There's a lot of air handlers in here, once again, that are single point of failure. If they were to fail, you really have no redundancy put in place. And it's not like you can just move people around. Higher operating costs, like I said, from an efficiency perspective. Equipment now is a lot more efficient than it was 27 years ago. And then that compliance and reputation perspective. If any one of these things were to fail from a reputation perspective, it's kind of a big deal. And then from a compliance perspective, just getting it up to code with today's current standards. Next slide. So then I'll talk quickly about phase 1. Next one. So phase 1 is we're looking at 4 rooftops. These rooftops provide all the heating, cooling, and ventilation for the entire first floor. Basically, on the life of these equipment, the fans are deteriorating. There's some drainage issues. The controls are definitely outdated compared to automated controls and how we can deal with things today. And then, like I keep talking, just from a code and performance perspective, the amount of ventilation air we're not bringing in that we should be, and things of that nature. So basically replacing these 4 units, they're 27 years old. Typical life expectancy of a unit like this from an ASHRAE standard is 20 to 25 years. So we've already exceeded that life expectancy. And the cost, estimated cost to replace these 4 units is just a little over $2 million. So we put this in phase 1 because if any of these 4 were to fail, you're basically out of heating and cooling on one part of the first floor. Next slide. Similar situation. These are the 2 units that serve the detention areas. So these 2 units, once again, 27 years old. The box themselves, when you walk up and look at them, they're okay. They're in pretty decent shape. Fans need to be replaced. Coils, our biggest concern there is capacity. You know, these coils are sized for a certain amount of outside air that we need to cool. When the design is redone and we increase that amount of fresh air, we're kind of nervous about capacity. So during the design, that stuff will be looked out. But basically, when it's all said and done, these 2 units will be completely rebuilt, you know, from the ground up. And so to replace those 2 units, you're looking at just under $3 million. And you might look at that and say, "Wow, that's a big cost for 2 units." And a lot of this, these costs are higher for this facility just purely because of the logistics. You can't just go in and tear one out, take your time and put a new one back in. It's going to have to be staged when you do it, how you do it, getting in and out. So a lot of these, just on this type of facility, the logistics behind it, unfortunately, kind of drives up some of those costs. Next slide, please. Kitchen and ventilation. So the kitchen hoods, the makeup air units associated with that, they're just kind of dated. Once again, just like everything else, they're getting old. And what is this causing? Humidity issues, moisture buildup. And part of that is just because the ventilation isn't what it needs to be, not only in all the facility, but also in the kitchen. Pretty minor cost in the grand scheme of things, but we feel pretty important. And we put this in that phase 1 just because kitchen's used all the time. It's a comfort issue. It's a safety issue. So we're just trying to clean that up as part of this first phase. About $360,000, give or take, to redo those hoods, to redo the makeup air and exhaust associated with that. Next slide. And then the garage makeup air unit. You know, the garage got to make up air because we got to exhaust air. Obviously, you have vehicles sitting in there, and so once again, it's age. It's age that's driving it, but also new equipment to be more efficient. We're going to upgrade controls. Pretty minor cost in the grand scheme of things, but about $120,000.
Is that for the Sally Port?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we do have fire suppression in there, so it's a wet system. If it does get too cold in there, those lines will freeze and we'll have major issues.
Yeah, and so just like everything else, once again, it's that single point of failure. If this were to fail in the winter conditions, you have something you really got to deal with instantly. And that's the thing about all of these. Any failure in a typical building, you can deal with. A failure here becomes an immediate emergency because you can't move and shift people around. Next slide. And then smoke control and life safety. Like I talked about, this is very important in a facility like this because if there's a fire, you can't just evacuate. There is a system in place. It's a fairly complicated system. It uses all the various pieces of equipment that we've talked about. And all we're asking for here is to basically go through and kind of commission and test the entire system. It hasn't been ran in a long time. I mean, obviously a system like this doesn't operate on a regular basis. So kind of just go through, and especially since you're going to be replacing so many components that tie into this system, it's kind of a must to recommission, retest this system to make sure everything's working like it should as you bring in different components through this process. Next slide, please. And that's really everything that we consider phase 1, kind of, in my opinion, the must-dos. If something fails, it's kind of a big deal. And that's a bulk of the work. But I'll talk real quickly about phase 2 here. And this is basically improvements in the central plant. And like I mentioned earlier, there's been some nice projects in the last 5 to 6 years that have kind of addressed some of these. But basically what we're focusing on is some heating water improvements, some chilled water improvements. But more than anything, these are minor dollars. More than anything, it's the redundancy. That's where this phase, a bulk of the dollars of this phase, at about $1 million. And if I remember right, I think this is probably 750 of the $1 million. And I'll talk a little bit more detail about each one. But just like everything, this is about redundancy, reliability, and from this perspective, it's also about efficiency. Next slide. And then phase 3, click on that real, I'll kind of finish it up here and then summarize the big picture. Phase 3 is all the kind of other miscellaneous things. These are the things that need to be done, but not near as risk adverse with the other ones, not near as big of a priority. But like I talked about, the recreation upgrades, the fan coil units that heat that space right now are getting pretty old, need to be upgraded. And at that same time, because we're adding chiller to redundancy capacity, we could add cooling to that area as well. The toxic gas detection, basically you're in your garage, the gas detection system. Once again, everything works, but it's old. You'd want to upgrade that at that same time. The exhaust fans throughout the facility, same thing. It's an age deal. They need to be replaced. We talk about a Niagara integration. As we go through and replace these components and upgrade the controls, the Niagara is a front end that you can look at, that Jason and his staff can look at all of the facilities that Pot County has. And what we'd be doing is upgrading those to tie into that front end so that everybody can see and operate things remotely. And then during that process, all your exhaust fans, as we replace them, right now, none of them are even on the VMS. So the only way you know if one fails is if you're doing routine maintenance on it and you see it. Where this, you get alarms, you can basically watch all those things at all times. So this key of phase 3, it's just improved visibility of the system, continuing to enhance safety and comfort, and then reliability. Last couple slides here. So to kind of break it down, we broke it down by phases. These are basically the various projects I talked about. If you summarize all those, we're looking at phase 1, about 5.6 million. Phase 2 with the plant improvements, you're looking at a little over $1 million. And then phase 3, all those other things we talked about, also a little over $1 million. So back to that big number we talked about at the beginning, you're looking at about 7.7 million. This was a guess, you could start designing it, and this would be completely flexible. It's whatever works best with funding, timing, facilities group. But we're looking at this, in theory, could take up to 4 years. You could condense it, you could do it quicker, you could stretch it out, all depending on all kinds of variables. But we're pretty confident in these cost estimates. And then I think last slide is the next one. And it just talks about what we view as the next steps. Basically, get in, get the approval, at least start designing all of this stuff. And then obviously the funding strategy. Through that time, we developed a schedule, and then because of the logistics of this type of facility, the schedule is going to be driven by lots of various things. But we'd work through that as we work through the design. And that's basically it. Questions?
Yeah, you say comfort. You know what I say? Don't go to jail. Think of this jail right over here. Boy, they sweated it out in the summer and froze in the winter. Don't go there. Pretty simple. We're spending that kind of money to keep them comfortable.
I do have some questions.
Well, it's also, regulation, federal regulations, you have to
I
provide that.
just wanted to comment. What? Oh, okay. Over here, they just put them up there and let them go.
So Rick, Optimize Systems, how many years have you been in business?
As Optimize Systems, about 13 years, and we've done quite a bit of work with the county. Yeah.
That's what I was wondering, what other projects you've worked on with us.
They've helped us with the air handler replacement project in the courthouse addition,
Public health.
public health building, the rock. I mean, pretty much every project that had an HVAC component to it, they've helped us out with.
And in this scenario, we'd be looking at, we've been working with Jason, and our role in this project, if allowed, would be kind of to herd all the cats, to bring everybody together, to make sure the design's done properly. We ourselves would probably farm out that design once again, just because I like to have a good oversight. Our role would be the project management, and then the commissioning side of it, testing, guiding the design, making sure everything tested and works on the back end. I think it works better when you have one team design it and another team manage, commission, and test it, rather than having one team do all of that. It's just more eyes on it.
And I don't see anyone from the sheriff's office here.
They're all having meetings today. I did invite them. There was nobody there available to come today.
But these have been reviewed with them?
Yes. Yep.
And these are all cost estimates. The design obviously would go out to bid to the various contractors to get actual pricing. But we're working with Jason and we're fairly comfortable with the numbers that we're presenting, that if you came up with $7.7 million, you'd get all this done and hopefully get some back.
Now, I'm just curious there, jail. What do you set your temperature readings? I mean, does it vary from winter to summer? I mean, that has a lot to do with, usage, capacity, that kind of thing. 72 in the summer, I don't know. I'm just asking.
Yeah, Jason, this system would be able to do whatever you want it to do, but what do you keep your temperatures at? I don't honestly.
I'll let him speak to that.
It's roughly between 70 and 72 all year,
70, 72.
Yeah. around there.
And it just normal design, if I were to design any other building, I'd kind of shoot for 68 and 74 and have that capacity to be anywhere in that range.
If you start getting into offices, people have their own preferences of what they want the temperature to
And they
be.
set their own temperatures in offices.
They usually have a range of 4 degrees that they can choose. Yeah.
Okay, I've got a few questions if I can.
Go ahead.
Okay, in this estimate that you provided there is nothing in there for architectural fees.
It's all built into that number. So if you just want big picture, I'd say architectural fees, the way we had for our cost estimate, the way we had it broken out, architectural fees, project management and commissioning were about 10% of the total number.
Okay, and that includes the oversight fees for you.
Correct. And the design fees, all that is built into there.
Okay. Scheduling, is that been discussed? Like when would be the opportune time to do this? Like it'd be perfect if it was in the fall.
Yep. So
70 degrees.
Yeah.
High, and if they're a little cold, they can throw on a blanket, but.
that's the great point. That's part of the logistics we talk about that's driving some of these costs up. For example, you've got 6 air handlers, you have four rooftops, 2 air handlers that need to be replaced as part of this. And you're exactly right. You're gonna have areas that are down. So those are gonna need to be planned in the spring, the fall. You're gonna have to order equipment, get it staged, get it all ready. But then you're gonna be watching weather and say, okay, we've got a 2-week window to replace these 2 or to replace these over here. All that will have to be thought through because you're not gonna do this in the extreme heat of the summer, the winter. There's gonna be lots of work that can take place, but the actual shutdown and change out is gonna be logistics driving that.
And the equipment delivery time, for example, on rooftop units is 8 to 12 weeks from the time you order and approve them. You're gonna wait 8 to 12 weeks before they even show up.
So a lot of this will be thought out during the design phase when you're procuring equipment, all that is gonna have to be thought through. And that's why, in theory, this could stretch into 48 months, just because of you got window.
Okay. When we design this, will there be any thought to, would these systems be compatible to an addition? If there was an addition needed at the jail?
Yeah, I mean, to me, all that stuff would be thought about and talked about, but for example, from a chiller capacity, absolutely, on the central plant, you would think through those things. And that's part of why the nice thing now is this plan lays out redundancy. So basically you have 1 chiller right now. This would be adding a 2nd chiller. So part of that is additional capacity, but a bigger part of that is redundancy. If this were to fail, until you get it fixed, this one can run it. But yes, absolutely, additional capacity would and could be thought about.
Okay, and then one more question on the smoke control, life safety commissioning. Jason, has the fire sprinklers ever went off in that building?
All the time.
Go off all the time?
We have inmates break them on purpose. Andy gets the phone calls in the middle of the night. He's gotta go in.
Are they zoned?
Yeah.
And everything works fine?
It's inspected quarterly, so.
Yeah, but understand that's sprinkler fire protection, which is different than smoke control. Smoke control is there's a fire and you're pressurizing certain areas, evacuating smoke out of other areas. That's what this study commissioning is on, the actual smoke control side of it all.
Okay.
What kind of risk you're taking units on the roof, for instance, roof damage? you know, I mean, are these units the same size, it'll fit in the same holes, that kind of thing? You're looking at this too?
Yeah, from a design perspective, all of that is thought about, and there's probably gonna need to be some roof curbs redone. I mean, all of that stuff is thought through during the design process. So can I tell you, will unit A be exactly like unit B? We're not that far yet, but I mean, this is normal process, yeah.
So if I'm listening and reading you right, our next step would be to determine, putting the plan out for bid for, architects, engineers.
Yeah, the next step is to do design, absolutely.
Okay, and that would include getting bids from different, air conditioning, heating firms to do the work, right?
From a construction
To
perspective,
design-
absolutely, all
To
that.
design it, I should say.
And that's completely up to Jason on how he decides to go about doing that. If he selects somebody, if he goes out for a RFQ or however that's want to be
It'd
done.
have to be public bid.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you'll have the design ready for somebody to bid on it.
Yes, that's our goal, is to get the design, the construction documents prepared. And then those will go out to public bid. And at that time, we'll be able to open bids and see what the actual is gonna cost.
And then, because the board, we haven't had a capital improvement discussion on this at all whatsoever.
I
That's
understand.
$7 million that we don't have.
Yep.
That we'll need to put together a plan or a design or something.
Understood.
I understand the facility's 27 years old and it probably needs some work. However, it's in really good condition if you walk through it. So our staff's done a really good job there. But this is a big nut to
Sure.
fund here.
It should be on the board's radar though, because it is worth, recognizing that it is end of life, So,
If, the phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 are we required to go in that order to get this done?
Not at all.
So worst case scenario, if we said, let's take a look at phase 2 and phase 3 and try to get those done. That's a possibility.
We would want to start with phase 1. That's our
Okay,
most.
that's what I asked you and you said no.
But you
Well-
could cherry pick from phase one.
Yeah,
Phase one lays out 9 projects and you could say, okay, we're gonna do 3 of those. We're gonna replace just the 2 rooftops or just the 4 air handlers.
phase 1 is our priorities. That's our life safety and our critical infrastructure that we need to make sure stays operational.
And this is just my opinion, but in my opinion, you should think about it all from a design perspective, and then from a dollars construction perspective, you could cherry pick. And only because, when you size this air handler, that's gonna roll back into what the chiller capacity. So from a design perspective, you probably should think about all of it. But then from a dollars and construction perspective, you could say, yep, we're gonna do these 2 air handlers now, these 2 rooftop units 2 years from now, whatever that might be. But the dollars are mutually exclusive on the projects, but the design, to me, all kind of incorporates and ties to each other. So you at least need to think about some of the bigger picture things on day one.
Well, I don't have an issue with it for the design going out for bid, but that would be all I would be in favor of at this point. I'm not in favor of anything else. Sure. We haven't had a discussion on funding. Is it in your budget, Jason?
It is not.
Okay.
No, and I understand the board needs to figure out, if the money's even there to do this project. But, our job is to recognize areas that, are gonna need improvement, before we have a catastrophic failure or something like that. So I want, the board to be aware of the situation.
How many big opening windows do we have in that jail, Jason?
0.
Pardon me?
0.
Well,
Well, the rec room's open, I guess. So,
So there's 4 of them?
Yep.
Cool. That'll work. Put some fans in there. I mean, if worse come to worse and we needed to do something in case of emergency, but. What do you want from us today, Jace, to move forward with the design and get bids from
what we would do is we would get the design and construction documents ready for the phase 1 of the project. and get that out to bid.
Does, Optimized Systems do that?
Yes.
Okay. If you want a motion for that, Brian, I'll do that for you.
Okay. What,
I'll second that. Then, Jason, you got 9 projects in category 1, right? You say,
Roughly, yeah.
okay, so these will have to be, prioritized, I guess, and you're able to do that. If we have to, even if we have to take them one at a time.
Yep.
Let's do the what needs to be done first. Put it on that list, okay?
Sure.
So keep that in mind.
Yes, sir.
we'll have to do a study session to see what we can do for funding.
So Tim,
Should bring it.
your motion was to approve phase 1?
Optimized System to move forward with the design and put it out for, bid for the design work only.
What kind of money will that be?
We've already paid for the design, is that correct? Correct.
For this study and this process,
For just the study, so
Yep.
we're getting into more money with the design.
for the design side of it,
So
yeah.
we would have to have a proposal for that amount, and that would have to come back in front of the board.
Yeah, we can start looking at that, and, we can have conversations if it's all of phase 1 or just parts, because basically I can share a spreadsheet. It's broken out in cost estimates for each one, so that it'd be, whether, in my opinion, though, I would design all of phase 1, is the way I would look at it, just from like I said, if you design an air handler over here, that's great, but did you think about this, 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 and this?
We have the design, then we can pick what we need to do first.
Correct, and then you could phase it, construct it however you want, but the design will be done in phases. I mean, as far as laid out to be able to be bid in phases, but you need to think about it holistically.
So we're only looking at phase 1 at this point,
For design.
for phase
So
1,
would it be
2,
more
and 3.
appropriate to say to request bids for the design? Because you're not really approving anything
No.
today.
We need to move forward with with his RFP proposal and then request bids for design, if that's what you want to do. But I would want that's not part of that. I would want all phases to be included in the design. All 3 phases, not just phase 1.
You're talking this smoke suppression. Yeah.
I'm talking
All
phase
3.
1, phase 2, phase 3,
All right.
everything that's currently in there.
Total 7.7 million.
Right. And then, well,
I get it.
when we have the discussion on the funding side of it, at least we'll have the design done for all of them. Move
You
forward,
concur?
like,
Yeah, okay.
Was my point. I didn't know whether we were going to limit it. Phase 1. So I'm glad we're doing the whole
yeah,
3 phases.
Wonder how they
is
made
that what
it
you want, Jason?
with this little jail over here. I bet that was brutal in the summer
In winter.
and the winter. All right, got a motion by Wickman, a second by Jorgensen to go for design for all 3 phases.
To continue with the RFP and request bids for design to include phases 1 through 3.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? No, we're on our way.
Thank you for
Not
coming in
easy.
today.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, guys. Next up, Becky Minahan, Finance and Tax Officer, Auditor's Office. Discussion and or decision to approve and authorize board to sign resolution number 40-2026 entitled Appropriation Resolution to make appropriations for each of the different offices and departments for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2026. Becky?
Good morning. This is just the required resolution for the appropriations so that we can, start utilizing their budgets that was approved in April, come July 1st.
Becky, I've got one question for you. If it came to the point where the board needed to make some cuts in budgets, how do we do that? Once we've appropriated funds?
I would have to check on that to be absolutely sure, but my thinking is you would have to do an amendment decreasing those expenditures.
That's a simple amendment. Can you let us know on that?
Yes.
I'll move that for you.
I'll second.
Okay, got a motion by Wickman to approve resolution number 40, 2026, and a second by Miller. Mary Ann, would you do a roll call, please?
Second by Milner or Jorgensen?
No.
No,
I
okay.
thought she caught it first.
Sorry. Chairman Shay,
Aye.
Supervisor Wickman.
Aye.
Supervisor Miller,
Aye.
Supervisor Jorgensen.
Aye.
Supervisor Jones.
Thank you, and I will get you all a definite answer on the
Thank you, Becky.
reduction.
Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Becky. Thank you.
Next up, discussion and or decision to approve and authorize chairman to sign law enforcement services contracts between Potawatomi County and the following cities: City of Avoca, City of Carson, City of Crescent, City of Hancock, City of Macedonia, City of McClellan, City of Minden, City of Neola, City of Oakland, City of Trainer, City of Underwood, and City of Walnut. This, I just read an article in the paper about more and more counties are getting more and more small city contracts. They're letting their police departments go because of costs. It's getting more and more expensive to run. Just can't afford it.
You're right, and I would, say that we need to have a meeting with all the mayors this fall, either in September or October, and let them know that these need to change.
Yes.
They've been at, the same level for 4 or 5 years and haven't went up a penny. And while our costs continue to go up, they need to cover part of that. So, I'll work on trying to get a meeting with all the mayors
That'd work.
and let them know that, not that I want to, it's that we need to.
Each city can pay for one more hour a day of services. And I don't know that we have many of these cities that do that. It's an elected deal. And, I think we're stretched pretty thin the way it is.
I think the sheriff's office does a good job out in the rural communities. But I think there's a perception that they should be doing more. And meeting with the mayors is probably a good way to start that conversation, just to level set. The mayors turn over. A lot of them are new since these contracts were originated, and just to level set is probably a good idea.
Yeah, I need a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Any more discussion, comments? Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those deny? None. Motion passes. Okay. I'll hold these for later. Next up, Jasmine Elmore, Director, Human Resources, discussion and or decision to approve and authorize board chairman to sign memorandum of understanding for 911 telecommunicators positions. I slipped that one.
Good morning. So the memorandum of understanding that you all have is to clarify that the positions, which are the telecommunicators 1 and 2, are to be included in the collective bargaining agreement. It has been reviewed by myself, by legal, and by the union representatives themselves. And we are seeking authorization today for the board chair to sign on behalf of this agreement.
The pay scale, is that was negotiated in the beginning of this, that 2340 step 1,
That is correct.
and then with the 5% or 0.5% increase in step 1?
That is correct.
How many employees do we have in this telecommunicator step and grade?
1. At this time, they will eventually have a few more.
I'll move that for you, Brad.
Thank you.
I'll second it.
Okay, this is memorandum of understanding for 911 telecommunicators positions. Motion approved by Wickman, seconded by Jones.
Does that require a voice vote? Roll call vote?
We can
I'll
do
ask
that.
for a roll call vote.
Okay, we got discussion, comments, anybody? Mary Ann, would you do a roll call?
Chairman Shay,
Aye.
Supervisor Wickman,
Aye.
Supervisor Jorgensen.
Aye.
Supervisor Jones.
Aye.
Supervisor Miller.
Aye.
Next up, thank you.
Thanks, Jasmine. You're welcome. Thank you.
Discussion under decision to approve the Mid-American Energy light pole at Smith Wildlife Refuge. We've got a bill here for $5,936.96. And the trails was given a grant for $4,000, which that will apply. So there's a remainder of $1,936.96 that needs to be paid. This was from a grant last year. And I don't know that many of us knew what was going on. And this bill is due for Mid-America Energy, and they wrote a check to the Bicycle Trail Committee, and they thought that was for just funding. Turned out to be for this light pole. A lot of confusion in this. I don't know that many people on this board, or if anybody, knew what was going on. And it's been quite a deal to get to this. So the Trails Committee will forward us a check for $4,000, and the remainder will be $1,936.96 that this board needs to come up with. Questions, comments?
I just like to clarify, there was no fault of the Trails Committee in this. It was,
Correct.
they were presented a check and they received it. And the grant application was to Mid-American Energy.
Mm-hmm.
And then Mid-American gave us the 4,000, or gave the Trails the 4,000, and then presented this additional bill for installation.
Correct.
So the grant did not cover 100% of the cost.
So the motion should actually read that you are approving 1,000, not the
936.96.
500, so I'll change that.
Okay. They are gonna give us the check back for $4,000. Or forward a check to us.
Okay,
What about the $1,500 from the community foundation?
That, was part of the $4,000. The Trails has that, they're forwarding it back to us.
So then Mid-American didn't provide a check for 4,000. They provided a check for
I'm sorry, you're right.
2,500.
2,500 and Community Foundation was 1,500,
So where,
a total of 4,000.
do we have that 4,000?
The Trails Committee does, and they're prepared to write me a check tonight.
So then you are approving the 5,900 after transfer,
We put it back in.
after the transfer of $4,000 into the county's.
Going to want to put that into whatever fund you're going to take it out of.
We need to be guided on that.
Well,
Right about confusion.
I think there's, I mean, we could send the check to some, or the bill to somebody else if we want to, but, I would,
Bill came to us.
yeah, well, maybe the individual who worked on the grant. Once we receive the $4,000 check from, the Trails Committee, Becky,
Yes.
we can put that in the, can we put that in the gaming revenue account?
And then we take the remainder
Put
out
it
of
in the
there.
gaming and then take
Take it out of there.
it out.
All right, with that, I'll make a motion that once we receive the check from the $4,000 check from the Trails Committee, we will pay Mid-American Energy the $5,936.96.
I'll second that.
And I want to go on record. I knew nothing about this at all whatsoever. And it's disappointing that nobody on this board that I'm aware of, nobody on this current board that I'm aware of knew anything about this.
It was confusing.
Oh, that's for the vote.
Okay, got a motion by Wickman to pay the 5936.96. You need a second?
Jeff already did, and that was once we received the 4,000.
Right. Okay, questions, comments? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carried. Next up, discussion under decision to approve application for permit to display fireworks filed by Robert Caputo on July 4th, 2026. Other permitting at 2288 Three Bridge Road, Council Bluffs. Looks like they've got their insurance in there and everything, so
The insurance dates are not current. The expiration of the insurance is June 19th, 2026. Maybe they were waiting to renew the insurance until they knew that we approved it.
They should provide, I didn't catch that. They should provide an actual current.
Exactly.
If our
These
requirements,
permits come into,
Matt Wyant.
and Matt's not here to speak to it. Usually Matt chases those things down beforehand.
You probably could conditionally approve it, conditioned on him providing certificate of actual insurance. I mean, I think just to avoid you having to deal with this again next week, that's probably your most efficient route. Or you deny it and say that you didn't have the paperwork done. It's either or.
Is that your motion to approve once we receive the up-to-date insurance?
Yes, that is my motion to approve this permit conditional upon insurance.
I'll second that.
Who contacts Matt then to?
I can call him.
We can, if Matt's out of town, we can ask.
No, I saw him
Pam.
this morning.
Oh,
Seemed like we did one of these last year too.
We did.
A motion by Miller, a second by Wickman to approve application for permit for Robert Caputo on July 4th, 22881 Three Bridge Road, conditioned on insurance being current. All in favor signify by saying aye.
I,
Those opposed, motion carried. Discussion under decision for application for permit to display fireworks filed by Ryan Rogers on June 27th, 2026 at 15259 214th Street, Council Bluffs. Is that correct?
Yes, his insurance was current.
Good eye, Susan. Thank you.
And we haven't received any comments from the public or anything on either one of these applications. I'll make the motion to approve.
I'll second that.
Motion to approve a permit to display fireworks filed by Ryan Rogers on June 27th, 2026 at 15259 214th Street, Council Bluffs. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried. Next up, Dixie Wilson, Accounting Technician, Auditor's Office. Discussion on our decision to approve, disallow the following applications made to the Auditor's or Assessor's Office. I'm sorry. Homestead, 308 recommended allowed, 4 recommended disallowed. Military, 25 recommended allowed, 1 recommended disallowed. Disabled Veteran Homestead, 19 recommended allowed, 1 recommended disallowed. Family Farm, 7 recommended allowed, 4 recommended disallowed.
Morning.
There you are. I was looking for you, Dixie. The disallowed, are they not living here?
Which one?
Yeah, there's a lot of different ones here.
The family farm, 3 out of the 4, the person that was originally on the application and certified they were farming is deceased. So if someone is going to pick up and take over with that, I'll be mailing them a letter, letting them know. But the new person would have to apply and certify that, yes, they're still going to continue farming it. They will get a letter. The other one, the other family farm that was disallowed was due to it being classified as residential. It does look like maybe a very, very small portion was being farmed, but in order to be classed as farm, that has to be the primary use of the land. And, you know, they would have to then, if they were interested in getting it changed, not only would it have to be the primary class, they would have to apply through the assessor's office for a property assessment review, and that would have to get approved. Then they would reapply for the credit. Where if you have questions on other than the family farm, like the homestead and.
Yeah, how come 4 disallowed on Homestead?
Okay, so one of them, it was a change of mailing address. It's common. That's what the assessor does. If the assessor gets notified that that person changed their address, we then start the disallowance process where I would send them a letter to let them know. Sometimes they might reach out to me and let me know what's going on, but lots of times it's just that they moved. They are selling that house, buying a new house. So then of course they don't get that credit. The new owner is trying to apply for that. The other ones, one of them was a 65+ homestead. They weren't old enough. They didn't qualify. But if they mark that box on the application and they are not old enough, I have to send them that letter saying you're not old enough yet, please reapply, once you are. Unfortunately, it's not something that just stays on file till you get that age and it automatically does it. There's qualifications on the application. You have to, be, 65 as of January 1st of the year that you're applying. Then the other one is a trustee of they're not a person living in the house as the resident. So in order to qualify, it has to be your primary residence. You have to apply. And then, there is one that applied, but they're not living, bought the house. They're not living in the house, not their primary residence. They're doing work on the house. So then I'll send them a letter saying, until this is your primary residence, you can't get on the house you're living in, it has to be your primary residence. So then they can reapply once they're done with the work and they make the new home their primary residence.
Dixie, those who are disallowed, you contact them and let them know and try to work
They
through
send
it.
them a letter out. That's what the Iowa code states to do. I send them a letter and the reason why, and then in the letter, it also has my name and number if they have any questions. If it's something I can handle, then I can explain it to them. Otherwise, like if they need to reapply and things, they go back to the assessment office and do a new application with the information.
And that's for all the different categories?
Any of the disallowed, yes.
Got it.
And I also send out letters to the allowed disabled veteran homestead, because usually they have to provide that letter. If there's a mortgage and they have escrow on their house, they would provide that showing that they, do not pay the property taxes on that.
Thank you.
Dixie, did any of these change with the new property tax law that the governor just signed?
Any of these ones?
Right. Well, any guidelines, anything that you follow for the assessors and how you audit back to make sure that we're in compliance?
No, technically no, because the assessor is the one that makes that recommendation. I can't overrule what the assessor has, but of course, the assessor would be going according to the new.
Okay.
So if I understand that disabled vet, you're gonna send him a letter and tell him to get his DD 214 on file?
Correct.
Okay. Why does an active duty military person not qualify for a military exemption? So if you're an active duty military member, you can't get a military exemption?
Correct. I think I would have to reread the code and make sure, but I'm sure it's something to do with the training. Just the training part of it. You have to complete the training. But don't 100% quote me without bringing up the actual code and reading through.
I haven't looked at it in a while, Tim, but I think it's a veterans. We may put it down in ours as a military credit, but my understanding is it's a veterans credit. You're not a veteran until you get your, I know I've got a veterans credit on my house and I had to record my DD 214 with requirements to do that, so.
When are you considered a veteran after 4 years of service?
Whenever you get your DD 214, and then you get them on.
So you have to be out of the service to get it. Well, that stinks. All right,
Yeah, it does.
all right. Did you get a motion for those, Brian?
I have not,
I'll do that.
okay?
I'll second that.
A motion by Wickman, a second by Jones to disallow the following applications from the assessor's office. We went through those. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, motion carried.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dixie.
Thank you, Dixie.
Okay, I put this on here we need to discuss, discussion and or decision on department head agreements. We've batted this back and forth, but we've never came to a conclusion on this. And figured it'd be better to do it now than later. Although we have gone clear till September, October for this.
Okay, well, it was on the agenda 2 weeks ago, and I asked for it to be tabled because it was my understanding that Kristen was going to have a meeting with all of the department heads to get their thoughts on the contracts. As a group, we've never heard what the feedback from that conversation was. Kristen has provided a red line of what the employment agreement with those thoughts in mind, I'm assuming, has been added. And maybe Matt, you could speak to it, fill in some blanks here for me.
Normally I have assistants come do it and I do the work and show for the assistants, but today I'm Kristen's surrogate. So she's at a State Bar Association meeting, so I'm thankful for her. She did send me an email, so I mean, I'll just give you, obviously was not part of any of those direct discussions, but I can tell you, she forwarded me what the concerns were. Said she did not hear from any department head that did not want a contract. Many of them were less interested in a one-year agreement. They were all hoping for 3-year agreements. The biggest concern was that they would like some outlined disciplinary procedure prior to termination. They'd like to see the 40 hours of personal leave stay in the contract. If it's not going to be in the contract, they would ask that there be some sort of MOU or something added to the handbook so that they could maintain their 40 hours of personal leave. Said there was some discussion about parental leave and investment in professional development. She says, I mean, Kristen's notes are just, that might be better for more just a negotiation between the board and department heads. So there's nothing about that that's been in the sort of generic draft. That there was some discussion that they would like some sort of performance review structure, but there was not any sort of consensus from department heads about what that would look like. So I don't think it's included in here, but that's just something maybe to think about. And then you've got several department heads who are veterans. They would like a clause that indicates that they haven't waived any of their rights with regard to that. That doesn't legally make a difference, but she said it does not apply to all department heads, and she did not include that in the generic. So that's all the notes I have. I can answer any questions you have to the extent I can, but that's pretty much my knowledge of the situation.
Well, the veterans preference is in Iowa code. So I don't see any need for that. A 3-year contract, I'm not in favor of contracts at all whatsoever. I mean, they are department heads, they work for us. They're all doing a terrific job. If they want to, we only have one department head in here.
Yeah, 3.
Well, 3. You don't have a contract, do you, Kate? I don't see the need for them, so if they would like to, keep that, 40-hour, what do you call that?
Administrative leave.
Administrative leave. I don't have any issues with that. I mean, most of our department heads put in more time than 40 hours a week. And hopefully that they're working their time to, if they put in extra time a week, they can take a little time off. I mean, I'm not telling them what to do, but I'll make a motion to deny or to eliminate department head contracts.
Know that we're still working on updating the employee handbook and specifically to the disciplinary actions, the ones that are written into this red line draft of the department head contract match the employee handbook. So it's, the only thing different is for the board to go through the disciplinary actions for an employee or a department head, it would be done in a public forum on a Tuesday morning unless that department head requested a closed session. I mean, it's just a clunky process, and it would be two separate instructions we would have to follow if we had the department head contracts. We'd have to make sure they were either in lockstep or keep in mind how they're different. I do like the idea of putting in a performance review for our department heads. I just think that's good standard practice that we challenge our department heads to not only do what they do today, but to strive for additional training and growth in their positions. But I think we do that for all employees. I mean, all of our employees in the employee handbook are given opportunities to be reimbursed for education and career advancement.
Pretty much everything in here is already in our handbook.
Department head contracts, in my opinion, I think, first of all, there are gonna be future board members, that weren't involved in writing up these contracts for department heads. And so they're gonna be handicapped in that instance. I agree with, Tim. I'm not in favor of department head contracts.
Was that, I still have a motion on the floor. Is there going to be a second?
Your motion includes the 40 hours of administrative leave, correct?
It's not administrative leave, it's personal.
Personal leave.
I'm sorry.
There is a technical difference. I want to make sure we're all clear there.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It would include the 40-hour personal.
I'll second that.
Yeah, I think we changed the department head contracts 2 years ago that we were reimbursing the department head for any unused personal leave.
We better take another look at that. And we're not reimbursing them now.
No,
No.
we took that out 2 years ago. So their contracts just allow them to utilize up to 40 hours of additional time.
Period.
Right.
Yep.
And we had it so that they couldn't use it for the last 2 weeks of the fiscal year. Just because we needed to have them here should year-end things need to be addressed.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the contract is covered by state law and the employee handbook, and I agree with Mr. Wickman.
So do you think we need an MOU for that, for the things that are different? Or do we add a statement into the employee handbook about how department heads are different?
I think that, while that's not on the agenda today, the contract is, I think if we move forward with the contract, I'd be open to, figuring out a way that we could, legally provide that to them through an MOU or,
An MOU is probably easier, but I mean, you can handle it, I think, either way.
pardon me?
I said an MOU is probably easier, just because it's just easy to draft them. It feels like there's a lot going on with the employee handbook. But if you wanted to put it into the employee handbook, that's something you could do either. I think the board is entitled to handle it however you wish.
So, did you volunteer to work on that MOU, Susan?
Wouldn't it be
Think
more
they've got
appropriate
enough.
to just keep it in the employee handbook
As
as opposed to having more documents out there floating around?
you can cancel an MOU.
We can amend an employee handbook.
Okay. However you want to do it. Doesn't make any difference to me.
I think the department heads feel pretty secure with the agreements, with the contracts. And I guess I feel I'd like to represent the department heads by saying I'd like to keep the agreements myself.
Would you be in favor of the 3-year contract like they're
Probably
suggesting?
not a 3-year, but a 2-year, I wouldn't mind entertaining. really, a lot of these people want security. And I think they give their all to our county. And I want to support them. And I just think taking it away removes one security factor. These are the people that do the meat and potatoes of our work.
Everything in it is in the handbook. We have a motion and a second on the floor. I'll call for the vote.
I get it, we're still discussing.
You know, the department heads do answer to them. And, you know, for the board to take, to have to, you know, have to take other considerations in department heads' appointments. I just don't, I don't see that happening, in my opinion. They answer to the board, and that's the way it should be.
In their current contracts, there's the statement in here to employees to devote full time to the county. And I know that we talked about the employee handbook, changing it to not secondary employment, to eliminate those requirements. But I think this paragraph in here is pretty appropriate for our existing department heads. Sometimes they get, well, we've shared our county engineer in the past, and they get compensation, but there's an agreement for how they work their time with the other counties. There's a section in here on county vehicles. I'm not sure, Jasmine, we'll have to look at the employee handbook to see if county vehicles are spelled out and how that's addressed from a tax standpoint in the handbook. I appreciate the efforts of all of our department heads. I know that they do go above and beyond, and they are leaders for their people, and they are advocates for their professions. But I would agree with Tim that we don't need a contract for that arrangement.
Anyway,
Call the vote.
a motion by Wickman, a second by Jorgensen to deny having department head agreements.
But to include the 40 hours of personal leave.
That is correct.
Yeah, I work on it.
Do voicemail, a voice,
Roll
Roll
call.
call.
yeah.
Chairman Shay,
I'm going to deny.
Supervisor Wickman.
Aye.
Supervisor Miller,
Aye.
Supervisor Jones,
Aye.
Supervisor Jorgensen.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Was that a no then for you, Brian?
Yeah.
Never heard somebody use deny before. I thought it was an aye or a nay.
That's okay, Tim. Committee appointment. Jeff?
We didn't meet last week, the board, but June 15th, I had a meeting with the Veteran Services Executive Committee, and I'm gonna say that their Veteran Services mobile unit is, they say it's doing a great job. They appreciate that added service to their department, so just forward that on to everybody. And then June 16th, I met with the board meeting with the Southwest Iowa Juvenile Detention Center. Also, and then we approved, as a board, we approved a 3% increase to the director of the detention center, and they're doing a great job. A lot of things happening over there, but seem to be on top of it, and I appreciate their efforts, their work. So that's all I have.
Went to Des Moines last week and did my best to advocate for Potawatomi County. I also went with Jeff and went to the Southwest Iowa Juvenile Detention Board meeting. They have some fee agreements that are being modified, but it's nothing that we need to talk about here. I'm going out with the recorder's office in 2 weeks with their mobile unit.
A couple weeks ago, I went to the Lewis Township Fire Department for, there's a house that they're training north of there on. Met with citizens and group there. And then done a meeting for CB 250 or 2050, I'm sorry, conservation. Went to that Matt Dickerson Bridge dedication out by Neola. Done Golden Hills. I've done interviews for a trails coordinator. And then Great American Rail Trail, Veteran Services, Unleash CB. Went up to Hitchcock. There was some events going on up there. WIDA, MAPPA. Spoke at the junior leader or the Leadership Academy.
I was on vacation.
Good for you. That's important. Tim?
Keith
Yes, sir.
and Jeff, real quick, you met with Southwest. What did that board come up with as far as raises go?
3% for your director.
For the director, yeah.
What about the employees?
I know the deputy director was also 3%.
I think they're all 3%. I remember. We had that discussion before, so they're all at a 3%.
We don't, this board doesn't
No,
do that.
but the collective board decides the director's salary.
Who decides the employees?
Uh-huh.
Who decides the employee increases? Oh, you don't have anything to do with that?
We don't have anything to do with their salaries, the employee salaries. But we do control what the director is.
I looked at their starting wage. It's pretty low.
I agree.
Is there anything you guys can do with the other counties to take a look at
Well,
that?
it's going to take a collective agreement. But I agree with you. You know, they do have need for replacement. You know, people move on. You know, it's.
Well, I'm just asking you to
I
bring
agree,
that
I
up for
agree.
discussion
We
on.
will bring it up, but they are fully staffed,
At
so
this point, yeah.
they're getting applications. That's a good point. It's not an easy job.
No, and I mean, if you look at the similarity between the jailer and them, it's
The stepping stone.
$3 to $5 difference in.
Yeah.
Okay, let me know what
right.
they have to say at your next meeting.
Okay. Thank you. Next up, closed session. Jasmine Ilmore, Director of Human Resources, closed session pursuant to Iowa Code 20.17.3 for discussion under decision on labor negotiations and bargaining matters. Need a motion to go into closed session.
I'll make that motion.
Second,
Mary Ann?
Chairman Shay,
Aye.
Supervisor Miller,
aye.
Supervisor Jones.
You stepped out.
um,
Nope. You're up.
Supervisor Jones.
Aye.
Supervisor Jorgensen. Supervisor Lee.